Our top story this morning, President Park Geun-hye will head on another long diplomacy tour next month. The South Korean leader will attend some multilateral meetings in Russia, China and Laos, including the G20 and the ASEAN-plus-3 summit. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun has her itinerary.
President Park Geun-hye's week-long trip will start in Vladivostok, Russia, where she'll address the Eastern Economic Forum and sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin on September 3rd. President Park will then take off to Hangzhou, China for the G20 summit, where world leaders will gather to discuss ways to make a more innovative, interconnected and inclusive global economy. A summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping has not yet been confirmed, but during her two-day visit, President Park will likely call for global cooperation in reining in North Korea's threats, while seeking understanding for Seoul and Washington's decision to deploy the U.S. missile defense system THAAD against those threats, as Beijing and Moscow have both expressed opposition to the decision.
If it weren't for North Korea's ever-increasing nuclear and missile threats, it would never have been necessary to make the decision to deploy THAAD. Before criticizing our purely defensive measure, Beijing should call out Pyongyang for violating peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in Northeast Asia.
President Park's focus will shift to business as she lands in Laotian capital Vientiane, where she'll seek to strengthen South Korea's strategic partnership with Southeast Asian countries. Seoul will take part in the ASEAN-plus-3 summit, which includes Korea, China, and Japan, followed by the East Asia Summit. President Park will continue her official visit to Laos, with the summit focused on revving up the bilateral partnership and boosting trade.
앞으로도 우리는 보호무역주의와 신고립주의 극복을 이끌어가는 선도 국가가 되어야 합니다. 금년 하반기에 아셈, G20과 같은 다자 정상회의가 예정돼 있고 우리는 각국과 FDA 협상을 추진할 여러 계획도 가지고 있습니다.
During her trip, President Park will seek to take a leading role on the diplomatic, economic, and security fronts in order to foster mutual growth and prosperity in the region. 송지선, 아리랑 뉴스.